Live from Madison, this is Fox 47 News at 9, Madison's choice for local news.
The remains found by the hunter and recovered by law enforcement were taken to the Wisconsin Crime Lab for DNA testing to identify the person. It is with a heavy heart that I announce to you today those remains were identified as Elijah Vue.
That was Two Rivers Police Chief Ben Miner revealing the human skeletal remains found on private property 6 days ago on September 9th are indeed that of 3-year-old Elijah Vue, ultimately drawing the roughly 7-month search to a tragic conclusion. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. Our Maddie Heims joins us with a breakdown of the search to this point and what comes next in the case. Maddie?
Armand, like you said, those remains just identified this evening as belonging to 3-year-old Elijah Vue. Now, the community has rallied around the 3-year-old over the past several months, so I spoke to a law enforcement expert for more insight into how officials can now fight for justice in the case.
Whenever anybody harms a child, it hurts a lot deeper, for not only just the public, but the family, for police, for prosecutors, all of that.
Law enforcement expert Brian Landers walks through next steps now that Vue's missing persons investigation has turned into a death investigation.
Yeah, they're going to be looking at, obviously what type of condition the body is in, and again, the environmental factors, how the body was disposed. Even the mechanism of how the body was disposed.
According to Two Rivers Police, Vue's body was found on private property by a local deer hunter in an area just miles from where the boy had originally been reported missing.
This area had been searched several times, as had been reported, by law enforcement searches, by private searches, by the landowner, by air, and with various search and rescue teams.
Landers says despite the time passed since Vue had disappeared, investigators should still be able to gather effective evidence.
Detailed DNA evidence that could be found either on the body or clothing or even the area surrounding the body, bone structure, any tissue structure, anything like that.
Landers says DNA, entomology, and psychological experts will now begin working together to develop a case in hopes of bringing justice to Elijah. Now we recap what led to today's press conference. The Two Rivers community had been searching for Elijah Vue for more than 7 months before his remains were found. On February 20th, the boy's mother's boyfriend, Jesse Vang, who is also his caretaker, reported the child missing. By February 26th, both Vang and Vue's mother, Katrina Baur, were charged with felony child neglect. They'd eventually both plead not guilty. On March 18th, Two Rivers police confirmed they found a blanket belonging to Elijah less than 4 miles from where he was last seen. And finally, on September 7th, Manitowoc County officials found human remains on private property. Fox 47 has been covering this case since Elijah Vue went missing. You can check out all of our past coverage at our website, fox47.com.